Good evening and welcome. This is Primetime News on Mitv. I am Tomisi Adebukola, and here are top stories for tonight. President Muhammadu Buhari okay's seplat accusation of ExxonMobil shares. As ex-governor Nyame Dariye released from prison. In foreign news, China holds fresh military drills around Taiwan. And talking sport, ex-Manchester United star Giggs goes on trial for assault. Now the news in detail. President Muhammadu Buhari has consented to the acquisition of the entire share capital of Mobil Oil Nigeria Unlimited by Seplat Energy Offshore Limited. This is according to a tweet by the presidency on Monday afternoon titled, President Buhari consents to the acquisition of ExxonMobil shares by Seplat Energy Offshore Limited. According to the president, Buhari authorized the move as Minister of Petroleum to attract foreign direct investment to the country. He also directed the ExxonMobil and Seplat to mitigate all environmental and abandonment liabilities. The statement read in part in his capacity as Minister of Petroleum Resources and in consonance with the country's drive for foreign direct investment in the energy sector. President M. Buhari has consented to the acquisition of entire share capital of Mobil Producing Nigeria Unlimited by Seplat Energy Offshore Limited. The president, in commitment to the investment drive in light of Petroleum Industry Act, granted consent to the share sales agreement as requested by the parties to the transaction and directed that the approval be conveyed to all parties involved. And President Muhammadu Buhari has received a letter from Governor Samuel Otom for firearm licensing for the newly established Benue State Community Volunteer Guards inaugurated last week to provide surveillance and intelligence gathering in the wake of persistent herdsmen attack. Otom disclosed this on Monday while playing host to a delegation from Northern Christian Women Coalition at the government house in Makurdi. Says the move became necessary following the legitimized process of establishing the guards to help restore peace in the troubled parts of Benue State. The president said he knows would approve his request to also empower his people against their transducers, at best to leave room for a fair level of response on the defenses of his people. During the launch last week, the guards, the governor said, are designed to address community security and safety. According to him, the volunteer guards were not established for political purposes ahead of the 2023 general elections. The governor therefore urged men of the volunteer guards to avoid the temptation of abusing the powers conferred on them by the state's law. The Pan-Yoruba socio-political organization Afenifere has expressed serious worries about the worsening insecurity in Nigeria. In a statement by its National Publicity Secretary, Jare Ajayi, on Monday, the group wondered if President Muhammadu Buhari was aware of the situation in the country. The group said the level of insecurity was unprecedented, while calling on Buhari to demonstrate he was serious about ending the spate of killings and abductions across the country. Afenifere said because of the kid-glove manner with which government is dealing with them, terrorists and kidnappers have been so emboldened that they now attack security institutions at will and malevolently go into the houses of victims to deal with fellow Nigerians all under the watch of government and security agencies. President Buhari needs to come out and let the perpetrators of kidnapping and terrorism know he has had enough. They also said he should let them realize that the pact he signed with Nigerians was to come and see to the serial determination of their lives, but not to ensure Nigerians' security and improve their welfare and move the nation to a desirable next level. Community leaders have been advised to work more on database of their communities and get accurate information about their tenants and neighbors in order to guard against the influx of terrorists, bandits and other criminals in the area. The chairman of the Police Community Relations Committee in Ogun State made this known during the unveiling of membership directory of the body in the state. The Commissioner of Police Ogun State Command described the step as the first of its kind, noting it will assist security agencies and will help to guard against impersonation. While appreciating the support of stakeholders in crime fighting, the Commissioner, on behalf of the organization, decorated some individuals for their selfless service. One of them was a journalist who doubles as the chairman of the Consolidated Chapel of the NUJ in Ogun State. He was honored as the media icon of the year.
The work they do, how maybe the family background, where they work, and all this sort of thing. When you have this, you know, even without making use of it, the fact that people know that you already have their data is already a deterrent for them to do something, because they know that the law will always catch up with them.
We are working perfectly with all security agents, not only the Nigerian police. We are helping them with critical information. It's only in Ogun State, when our people see something, they say it, and it helps a lot. And we thank the IGP for recognizing us.
One that we are living in, that the one that we know that of our own, and we should do our bit in ensuring that the society is safe, the society is secured, and the society is progressing.
The former governor of Plateau State, Senator Joshua Dariye, and ex-governor of Taraba State, Jolly Nyame, have been released by the Nigeria Correctional Service, NCOS. Both former governors were serving jail term for corruption allegations until they were granted a presidential pardon by the President and the Council of State a few months ago. The Council of State had approved the pardon alongside 157 other convicts in April this year. The former governors were convicted by Justice Adebukola Banjoko of the Federal High Court, Abuja, in 2018. Dariye was convicted of stealing 1.16 billion naira while serving as Plateau State Governor from 1999 to 2007 and sentenced to 14 years in prison, but his term was eventually reduced to 10 years by the Court of Appeal in Abuja, while his conviction was affirmed by the Supreme Court. Nyame was Taraba State Governor from 1999 to 2007, was convicted of the same, stealing 1.6 billion naira from the state's treasury, and was sentenced to 12 years in prison, judgment which was upheld by the Supreme Court. The United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, says 85% of Nigerian children between the ages of 1 and 14 experience violent discipline in schools, with nearly 1 in 3 children experiencing severe physical punishment. UNICEF Chief of Education Sajna Pandey Sobranya disclosed this in Abuja at the National Awareness Creation Meeting on ending corporal punishment in schools, organized by the Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria, TRCN, in collaboration with UNICEF. Pandey Sobranya described the discussion on ending corporal punishment in schools as difficult and heartbreaking, stating, however, the presence of participants at the meeting was a testament to Nigeria's determination to uphold every child's right to safety, well-being, and quality inclusive education. Our correspondent Miriam Nakimo reports that according to her, the persistence of these practices contradicts Nigeria's national policy on safety, security, and violence-free schools that commits to zero tolerance to any threat to the security of life and property in schools. Pandey Sobranya also noted that the practice stalling Nigeria's progress towards the SDG Goal 3 to ensure good health and well-being, SDG Goal 4 on equitable and inclusive quality education, and Target 16.2 to end abuse, exploitation, trafficking, and all forms of violence against children and torture of children. And also speaking, the Minister of Education, Malam Adamu, represented by Hajia Binta Abdulkadri, endorsed the action plan and roadmap for ending corporal punishment in schools in line with the Child Rights Act passed into law in 2003, protecting children's rights to a life free of violence. Adamu noted that globally there is evidence indicating corporal punishment in schools have impacted negatively on attendance and learning.
Your presence here today is a testament of Nigeria's determination to uphold every child's right to safety, to well-being, and to quality inclusive education. Yesterday, we confronted the harrowing reality that 85% of children between the ages of 1 and 14 in Nigeria experience violent discipline, with nearly 1 in 3 children experiencing severe physical punishment. This is a staggering statistic, colleagues, one that demands urgent action and is indicative of a crisis. Much of this violent discipline takes place in the form of corporal punishment in the very institutions that are entrusted to keep children safe, develop respect for human rights, and prepare them for a life in society that promotes understanding, that promotes peace, and that promotes conflict resolution through.
Teachers Registration Council, in conjunction with UNICEF, has organized this meeting where various stakeholders have articulated strategies and intervention for ending corporal punishment in schools, which is commendable. I most sincerely congratulate the Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria, UNICEF, and all other stakeholders in education sector for developing a draft national action plan and state-specific intervention targeted at ending all forms of corporal punishment aimed at improving enrollment, retention, and transition, as well as completion of education. The Federal Ministry of Education therefore endorsed this plan to serve as a roadmap for ending corporal punishment in schools in line with the Child's Rights Act passed into law in 2003, protecting children's life to a life free of violence.
Globally, there is presently a paradigm shift from corporal punishment in schools. Because of its effect on pupils, it has been proved to be ineffective, dangerous, and an unacceptable method of controlling and maintaining behavior and discipline. This is because it brings negative rather than positive consequences on the whole process of teaching and learning. It tends to increase child aggression and antisocial behavior, lower intellectual achievements, enhance poor quality of parent-teacher-student relation, and cause mental health disorders. Since corporal punishment tend to dehumanize children and make them feel scared, ashamed, and worthless during learning and teaching process, the time has come for it to be eliminated from both homes and schools so as to enhance positive learning. Ladies and gentlemen, it is worthy of note that education has a transformative role in children's lives and in society as a whole.
The People's Democratic Party, PDP, has postponed its caucus and National Executive Committee meetings earlier scheduled for Wednesday and Thursday, respectively. A notice of the postponement by the party's National Secretary, Senator Samuel Anyanwu, on Monday cited unforeseen circumstances as reason for the shift in date. He wrote, "This is to inform all members of the PDP National Caucus and the National Executive Committee that the meetings of the two bodies earlier scheduled for Wednesday, August 10 and Thursday, August 11, respectively, have been postponed. The postponement is due to unforeseen circumstances. A new date will be announced in due course." The Inspector General of Police, IGP Usman Alkali Baba, has been charged to examine officers attached to Osun State Governor-elect in order to ensure those with record of human rights abuse or extrajudicial killings are removed from the appointment. A group known as the Osun Masterminds gave the charge in Osogbo, the Osun State capital, today following the spate of insecurity activities which led to the death of 2 persons in the state over the weekend. Few areas in the state, particularly the hometown of the governor-elect, were ridden with crisis over the weekend, causing palpable fear amongst the people. Addressing newsmen, Executive Director of the group, Wasiu Yedokwali, said it is imperative for the police to cooperate with other sister agencies in preventing crime from escalating to loss of lives and property destruction, as it was the case in the state over the weekend. The group implored the force to always ensure perpetrators and sponsors are not shielded from facing the wrath of the law if the peaceful status of Osun State is to be maintained. He commended the disbandment of the tactical squad of the Osun State Command of the Nigerian Police Force, but demanded the members are debriefed and those found culpable of extrajudicial killings and right violations are immediately sanctioned for deterrent to other officers. The Osun masterminds admonished police in the state to live up to its mandate by curbing any act capable of undermining good governance and the peace of the people of Osun State. It equally charged politicians in the state to refrain from using disparaging languages and to rein in their desperate and power-intoxicated followers in order to promote sanity and peace.
What is more worrisome is the fact that before the just concluded elections in the state, Osun has been adjudged one of the most peaceful states in Nigeria. It should be pointed out that no meaningful development can take place in an atmosphere of rancor and violence. As societal watchdogs, we are compelled by duty to raise alarm and call to caution all perpetrators of actions capable of derailing good governance in our state.
The security agencies must also move further to ensure that certain elements who might be somewhere sponsoring these gangs to destabilize the peace of the state are also brought to justice, so that we can have a situation whereby we can return Osun State to the peaceful state it has been known to be.
And we hope that this essence of this press conference will be a pointer to the Nigerian Police Force that there is a need to review their appointment and ensure that whoever would be in the purview of government must be someone who has no record of indictment of human rights abuse or extrajudicial killing.
The Osun State Commissioner of Police Olawale Olokode has condemned the attack on Friday night in some areas of Ede town, giving assurance that the perpetrators of the dastardly acts will be arrested. The incident led to the killing of 2 persons, including a nursing mother whose husband is a member of the All Progressive Congress. Speaking on the incident, the Commissioner of Police, Olawale Olokode, said his tactical command team was disbanded following several allegations leveled against it, one of which is involvement of leader of the squad and members in Friday's incident in Ede town. The CPO also confirmed the arrest of suspected notorious cultist in town, popularly known as Rashid, known as Okoilu, assured the public that everyone involved in the violence incident on Saturday in Ede will be arrested. It was gathered a misunderstanding ensued at the PDP ward meeting over alleged refusal of minority leader of Osun State House of Assembly, Nuruddin Kuforola, to share the balance of money gotten from election expenses. Husband of one of the deceased, Tunde Olaleko, alleged that the CEP tactical team invited by Nuruddin Kuforola killed his brother and his wife, Kafayat Olaleko, who was said to have been shot twice in the chest. Findings further reveal the friends of Tunde Olaleko in retaliation were entitled to burn down the family house of the minority leader.
Very unfortunate if an honorable member of the House of Assembly is threatening to go back and kill people. I don't want to believe that is correct. If it is, it will be very, very unfortunate. That will not be allowed to happen, because both the governor-elect as well as the incumbent governor desire peace. They wouldn't want to thrive in a rancorous situation.
Báwọn ọlọ́pàá ti lọ tán kò tó bí torí after 6 nígbà yẹn kò tó bí tó 7 báyìí ẹni mo rá wọn SARS pé Jídé yẹn gan honorable yẹn gan akọgun òun gangan ló drive mọ́tò bó ṣe páàkì bẹ́ẹ̀ làwọn SARS náà páàkì sẹ́yìn rẹ̀ àwọn ọmọ yẹlé ló dẹ̀ páàkì bẹ́ẹ̀ àwọn náà wọ jákẹ́ẹ̀tì blue.
The West African Examinations Council has insisted it will not release the results of the Senior School Certificate Examinations (WASC) for school candidates in the 10 states following their continuous indebtedness to the organization. Head of Nigerian National Office, Patrick Onrega, said the students of the affected states will have to wait until the state government settle their debt before they could have access to their 2022 WAEC results. Abraham who disclosed this on Monday in Lagos while announcing the release of the results of the 2022 WASC and said the high inflation rate in the country has affected the cost of production, preparation and conducting the exam, as well as associated cost of navigating insecurity in parts of the country. He said out of 1,601,047 candidates that sat for the examination, about 89.79% of their results processed and released, while 163,418 candidates representing 10.12% have a few of the subjects still being processed due to some issues being resolved. Areha said 1,222,505 candidates representing 76.36% obtained credit and above in a minimum of 5 subjects, including English language and mathematics.
We have to pay salaries and allowances, we have to run the office, we have to pay pension, we have to pay gratuity. All these are costs. And how much is the exam fee? Some of you will take your calculator and say 18,000 times so and so. That's not our money. That's not the registration fee. The registration fee is just over 4,000 naira. All the other money goes into the purchase and supply of items to schools and candidates. And it is from this meager sum that we will do all that I've mentioned. So it's a big puzzle, it's a big problem. But for your information, for now, we are not contemplating any increase in the examination fee.
Well, I'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll bring you stories from the foreign scene. Please stay tuned. Welcome back. The Kenyan presidential election slated for Tuesday has been described as a two-horse race between the Deputy President William Ruto and renowned opposition leader Raila Odinga, despite 4 candidates vying for the number 1 seat. Kenya currently grapples with the high cost of living and is set to replace President Uhuru Kenyatta as 22 million voters are set to go to the polls. Aside from electing the president, politicians are also vying to be senators, governors, lawmakers, women representatives, and some 1,500 county officials. The 2 major candidates concluded their final campaigns on Saturday. The capital Nairobi, as Ruto held a rally at the 30,000-seating Nyayo National Stadium and Odinga campaigned at Kasarani Stadium, which seats 60,000 people. The Kenyan people, as it is with almost all African countries, are with high expectation to go to the polls in order to elect a new president that will transform the economic state of their country. Ukraine's ambassador to the International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, Yevgeny Tsimbalyuk, says Russian forces want to cause electricity blackout in southern Ukraine by shelling the Zaporizhzhia nuclear complex. He also calls for an international mission to the plant this month. Tsimbalyuk tells reporters in Vienna, insisting the visit must happen no later than the end of this month. He said they will use all means possible of diplomacy to bring the IAEA and the United Nations closer to conducting the mission. Another major risk at Ukraine's Zaporizhzhia power plant is the possibility of a nuclear waste storage site getting hit by a missile, which could lead to a release of radioactivity, Kokil says. She says the consequences of this wouldn't be as wide-reaching and severe as a loss of coolant accident, but it could still be extremely dangerous. A ceasefire between Israel and Palestinian militants in the Gaza Strip appears to be holding. The Egypt-brokered truce followed 3 days of violence, with Israel targeting the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, PIG, and militants firing rockets into Israel. At least 44 Palestinians died in the most serious flare-up since an 11-day conflict in May 2021. On Monday, Israel began lifting its blockade of the Strip, allowing the first few tanks to enter. The latest violence began with attacks by Israel on sites in the Gaza Strip, which its military said was in response to threats from a militant group. It followed days of tension after Israel arrested a senior PIG member in the occupied West Bank. By Sunday evening, the Palestinian Health Ministry said 15 children had been confirmed among the 44 deaths recorded. Gaza Health Ministry has blamed Israeli aggression for the death of Palestinians and for the more than 300 people wounded. Israel, for its part, says it hit 170 PIG targets during the operation, codenamed Breaking Dawn, killing several high-ranking PIG members and destroying tunnels and weapons storage sites. A spokesman for the Israel Defense Forces said they had information about 35 Palestinian deaths. 11 of them were uninvolved civilian casualties, including the wives of the terror group's commanders and the South victims of the IDF attacks. China carried out fresh military drills around Taiwan on Monday, Beijing said, defying calls for it to end its largest ever exercises encircling the democratic island in the wake of a visit by U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Beijing has raged at the trip by Pelosi, the highest-ranking elected U.S. official to visit Taiwan in decades, wrapping up a series of talks and cooperation agreements with Washington, most notably on climate change and defense. It also deployed fighter jets, warships, and ballistic missiles in what analysts have described as practice for a blockade and ultimate invasion of the self-ruled island that China claims as its territory. Those drills were expected to draw to a close on Sunday, but neither Beijing nor Taipei confirmed their conclusion, though Taiwan's transport ministry said it had seen some evidence suggesting at least a partial drawdown. China then said on Monday there were ongoing reporting in the eastern theater of the Chinese People's Liberation Army continue to carry out practical joint exercises and training in the sea and airspace around the Taiwan island. Now, still to come on the news tonight is sports stories. Please stay tuned. Welcome. Former Manchester United star Ryan Giggs stands trial Monday on charges of attacking and coercively controlling his ex-girlfriend in a case that has upended his managerial career. The 48-year-old, who until recently served as coach of the Wales national team, has pleaded not guilty to the charges, which carry a maximum jail term of 5 years. The jury trial at the Crown Court in Manchester was set to open at 10:30 a.m., presided over by Judge Hilary Manley. It is expected to last 10 days. Giggs is charged with assaulting his former girlfriend, PR executive Kate Greville, causing her actual bodily harm on the 1st of November 2020 when police were called to his home in the Manchester area. The Welshman is further charged with common assault of a younger sister, Emma Greville, on the same day. And that's the end of our news tonight, but just as we call it a wrap, let's take a look at our top stories. President Muhammadu Buhari has okayed the Seplant accusation of ExxonMobil shares. And ex-governors jailed for corruption, Yami and Dariye, have been released from prison. In foreign news, China holds fresh military drills around Taiwan as it sports ex-Manchester United star Giggs goes on trial for assault. Thanks for joining us on our news tonight. Make sure you stay in tune with us on all of our social media handles on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at MITV_NG. I am Tomisi Adebukola. Do have a pleasant night rest. Good night.